Hello there, Voltage Modular people, PoohBear here and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to look at some tips, I suppose, of how to get a bit more mileage out of arpeggiators. Arpeggiators are something I've always absolutely loved. And without a doubt, arpeggiators was the backbone behind storing forward. I mean, I love the fact that with arpeggiators you can sort of play something and it starts spurting it back. And really that's what I wanted storing forward to do, that we can actually hold a chord down and push it straight into storing forward and then hold it and it starts spitting it back at us. So that was the backbone for that. But I use arpeggiators a lot in my genitive projects, but if you listen to some of my genitive projects, you cannot hear anything which sounds like an arpeggiator may be going on. And that's because of the way I sort of break up the result. So that's what we're going to have a look at today. Basically, at the top, I'm just using my preset stepper and a control pad to control that. And that's just pushing out a simple chord into a mono to poly, into my poly to MIDI splitter. So I need to get a MIDI signal into the arpeggiator. That's coming down into this bottom row, which is really generating the sound. So it's just a basic oscillator, just going through a few things. Don't worry about these gators over here. We'll talk about them a little bit later. And we'll actually zoom in and actually have a proper look at what's actually going along the middle here as well. So let me just quickly zoom in here. So real basic stuff. I'm just using, obviously it's monopoly, just to give me some gate data so I can actually hear the sound. And in fact, should we actually hear what we're actually going to be playing around with? So that's just basically my storing forward that I'm using as a pulse. So that's actually pulsing the arpeggiator at the moment, which is obviously was playing as you could hear, and that was being outputted. So what we're going to do now, we're actually going to break the flow of things, and I'm actually going to put a GaToR in between the storing forward, i.e. what's generating the pulse, and the arpeggiator itself. So I'm just going to take this blue cable and plug it into the out of this arpeggiator, this GaToR, and this GaTOR is obviously getting a pulse as well from the storing forward. So straight away, if we actually listen to what we've got going on now, not sounding too bad, and it's sounding really quite a bit different from what we had to start with. And we've also got another GaToR the other side, and if we actually listen to that, that's going to actually sound completely different. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this particular gate out. So this is the gate out going to the instrument, going via this GaToR now, and then back. And as I say, and this is set up the previous way it was before, originally. Totally different. And in fact, they're working totally different if they're pre or post the arpeggiator. Basically, when it's pre the arpeggiator, because we're deciding when is the pulse going to go to the arpeggiator, we actually get to hear every single note. The big difference is obviously on this step here, it's going to play it, then it's going to pause, then it's going to play, play, pause, play, play. In fact, sorry, I only got 4 notes I'm using. And then it's going to be pause, and then it's back to the beginning again, so on and so forth. So without a doubt, all you're doing is you are playing every single note in turn, but you're pausing in between. Post is a totally different kettle of fish. As you could hear, it was actually quite repetitive, and it's quite rhythmic in a way. But what's happening is it's going, I'm going to play this note, I'm going to skip this note, I'm going to play this note, I'm going to play this note, I'm going to skip this note, I'm going to play this note, I'm going to play this note, and I'm going to skip this note. And so you kind of get that very, very repetitive stuff. Even more repetitive, I think, than the actual arpeggiator sounding, because at least that was going down 2 octaves. But the reason that's happening is because I've mentioned this before, especially with GaToRs and things, when you have an even something and you also have an even something, so we've got even steps here, 4, and this happens to be 8, so 4 goes into 8 twice, so there's both even. What I'm going to actually do, I'm going to turn this down to 7 steps. And now let's listen to it. It's got a falling feel about it, and it's not so repetitive. And so just by turning this down to an odd number of steps, and in fact this is one of the reasons I've got all these GaToRs this other side, we've effectively taken that pattern, and this is what we're actually playing. We're actually playing up to this point here. This is just happens to be a repeat of that first step. So we're actually going to be playing these 7 GaToRs. This GaToR actually has to go around 8 whole times because we've only got 7 steps, but these only go around 7 times because they've got 8 steps in each of them. But that's the pattern, effectively, what we're playing by offsetting, the steps by 1. And that's why I always say to people, it's quite, play with it. You've got things which are odd, make them, things which are too even, make them odd. If they're both odd, depending where they fall, it depends what happens. So if you've got a 5 and a 7, that's fine because they're off of each other and they'll play off each other. But when you've got 2 even numbers, it's not so much fun. And over this side, it doesn't matter. The fact that you've got 8 steps, it doesn't matter. We're pre, and there's 5. It's the lights are the important bit because there's 5 of them, which is an odd number. So 5 and 4 works quite well. So it's going to play, it's going to play, 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 play. Oh, we've got one here, so we're playing. So now when we get back to the top, we're now playing here. But as I said, it's stuttering in between. And there's nothing stopping you taking the gate from this GaToR. So now we're going to gate the gate into the arpeggiator, and we're also going to gate the gate coming out of the arpeggiator. Sounds different even more. This time I'm actually going to take a trigger now. So basically this is moving forward a step every time this trigger is actually live coming into it. But now what I'm saying to it is actually no, I'm going to take my trigger from the same source as this gate is running. And I'm just going to hit go there. That just hits everything on the reset. And it's just a slightly different pattern. Quite hard to tell sometimes. And I think with this kind of pattern, even a random works quite well. As I said, just a simple tip and something to have a little bit of fun with. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.